signal to start your engines ushers in a magic moment on any track. Phil Hill in his red Ferrari sits in the middle of the front row. On his right, Lance Reventlow in Scarab 3. On the other side, Chuck Day in Scarab 5. Poised and ready for whatever the next 200 miles will bring, other contenders rev their engines eager to be on their way. Dan Gurney right behind Reventlow. And in the third row, Roy Salvadori and Richie Ginter sit side by side. Past turn 1 into turn 2. John von Neumann in a Ferrari jockeying for position hits Lance Reventlow from the rear. Then goes out of control, plunging off the course into a field. As Reventlow, with rear end damage, which was to cause him trouble later on in the race, continues into the S curves. At turn 6, Chuck Day has taken the lead with Phil Hill right behind him. So started a hot 24-lap battle between these men and cars, and a chance for the spectators to watch two experts at work fighting out for the first position. Reaching the end of the straight, Phil Hill moves into the lead as they follow the sweeping banked curve on turn 9. And Dave, for the moment, is riding along in the slipstream provided by Hill's Ferrari. At the start-finish line, the officials and pit crews got their first look at the race progress as Hill and Dave flashed by on their way into the second lap. At turn 6, it's Hill, still in front by 1 car length. Then Phil Hill had the lead through turn 9. And flashing through the start-finish line, the stopwatches gave him only a split-second lead as Day hung on like he was glued in position. Accidents are seldom, if ever, funny. But this one had its humorous points. Johnny Parsons piled the Chuck Porter Special into the fence on turn 6 and climbed nonchalantly out to survey the damage. Worried officials told him, "Johnny, you can't leave it there." "Well, gentlemen," he said, "just what do you propose that I do about it?" After sitting for a few minutes at the side of this busy thoroughfare, Johnny got the car started again and headed down the hill for the pit area. Troy Ruttman, out of the race, watched from the start-finish line. Bill Cheeseburg in a Curtis Buick is another example. Slowing down but not giving up, he was finally forced to call it a day on the short straight going into turn 7 when the car quit running. But he was to have lots of company, for 24 out of 42 starters were forced out before the finish of the race. Back at start-finish, Phil Hill is running in first place as the seesaw battle for the lead continued. Lance Reventlow, with a damaged rear end on Scarab 3, sustained when he was hit by von Neumann in the first lap, has been black flagged off the track because of a leak in his fuel tank. Making emergency repairs, he indicated that the car was all ready to go. But pit officials put thumbs down, claiming that the emergency repairs were not adequate. Now the hope of the Scarab team rested on Chuck Day. And for them, things were looking better all the time. Phil Hill has lost several laps through car troubles. A gas line too close to the exhaust manifold has brought about a vapor lock condition. And although he returns gamely to the race, Phil is so far behind that he cannot hope to catch his rapid rival Chuck Day. Moving down to turn 9, the action came thick and fast as car after car spun out. Floyd Bird of Inglewood spun and came to a dead stop. Then Bill Pollock in the Dean Van Line Special went into a long, spectacular skid, which left him backwards. He made a nice recovery by driving into the infield and back in the race. Max Walchowski in the Motor Trend Special also lost the groove here, but dodging the oncoming traffic, got turned around and continued on in the race. Back on turn 6, Day still continues his lead, putting his Scarab into the turns a little easier than he had done when Phil Hill was breathing down his neck. And Hill, many laps behind, is still gamely fighting to keep his Ferrari out of the pit. end of the race approaches, and for Chuck Day and his crew come the worry of fuel consumption. Do they have enough in the tank to finish the race? Were their pre-race calculations correct? Can Day get over the finish line without a pit stop? Or worse yet, will he run out of fuel in some remote part of the course just a few laps from victory? These are the worries which beset those who race, as they watch and pray that nothing will happen in these last few moments to cancel out a brilliant job of driving. While 70,000 people held their breath, Day went streaking down the back straightaway, then through turn 9 into the approach to the finish line. Bearing down on the checkered flag, victory becomes a certainty, and Chuck Day makes it, winning the first United States Grand Prix.
Roger Ward, soon to be a two-time Indy 500 winner, lines up for a 1960 Riverside event. Likeable Texan Carroll Shelby began competing in 1952 and has raced all over the world in his trademark bib overalls. Briggs Cunningham, millionaire car constructor and driver. New Zealander Bruce McLaren finished second in the 1960 World Driving Championship. Augie Pabst is in the Scarab. Foyt has driven everything from midgets to stock cars, and like many of his Indy competitors, is after some road racing experience. A large crowd will have the chance to see how Foyt performs in the black number 112 Jaguar. Sports car racing in those days was every bit as action-packed and exciting as its dirt track counterpart. For car buffs, there was an incredible variety of machinery. Everything from tiny Porsche speedsters that seemed to buzz around in their own private contests to the sophisticated Krauss-driven number 53 birdcage Maserati. Safety equipment was rather crude or even non-existent. Crash and burn became part of the language, and drivers like Don Hewlett were often lucky to escape with their lives.
I haven't really beat the bandwagon every Monday morning that my cars have won the races. I felt that I want to be known as a businessman, and a businessman in racing.
It was in 1962 when Penske shook the racing establishment to its roots. Taking a wrecked single-seat Grand Prix racer, Penske converted it into a tiny, lightweight sports car and used it to dominate the Times Grand Prix at Riverside, beating a host of international stars in the process.
We got the car there. It never turned a wheel, and the fastest time, I think, was 135.6. And I went out and was warming it up at about 136, and people couldn't quite realize, what was happening. And before you knew it, in a matter of 9 or 10 laps, I had broken the qualification mark set by Bruce or Dan at that particular point and went on to sit on the pole. And I ran a very easy race, again, trying to finish, and it was a great thrill, of course. We won the national championship with it the next year. Then it was sold to Bruce McLaren, and he put an Oldsmobile engine in it and dusted not only the foreign competition, but blew Hall and myself off with the Chaparrals with the same car.
Penske poses just before the start. Last-minute instructions, then it's time to concentrate on the 200 miles ahead. The race is on. Walt Hanskin has grabbed the lead with the rest of the pack nipping at his heels. In turn 7, Penske pressures Hanskin on the outside and takes over the lead. Penske is pulling away in a brand new car of his own design. Hanskin, Jim Hall, and Brabham follow in that order. Local hero Dan Gurney has put on a real show for the crowd. Starting 28th, Gurney has moved all the way up to challenge Hall's Chaparral for third. Gurney has taken the lead. Penske is close behind in second, with Hall still third. Penske won't tolerate second place and puts a move on the outside of Gurney to once again take the lead. Penske has a 14-second lead and is able to back off a little. Roger Penske wins the 5th annual Times Grand Prix and at the same time clinches the 1962 USAC Sports Car Championship. The 3 Team Cobras entered in the GT race will be driven by Dan Gurney in number 97, Bob Bondurant in number 99, and Lou Spencer in number 98. All have qualified for the front row. The starter waves the green flag, and the 1-hour race for Grand Touring cars is underway. Dan Gurney takes the lead as he drives through turn 2. Cobras have the first 3 positions. Alan Grant spins while running second. Bondurant scoots by. Spencer challenges Bondurant for second. Alan Grant is back up to 4th in number 96. Down the backstretch, it's Gurney leading his teammates Bondurant and Spencer. Gurney flashes by the pits and heads out of turn 1, building up a sizable lead. Gurney still barely holds on to first, with Bondurant second and Spencer third. Alan Grant is all alone in 4th place. Shelby is disappointed as Gurney slows with a broken coil wire. Spencer takes over second. Bondurant has the lead. Spencer gets out of shape in turn 7. Bondurant is headed for the checkered flag and wins the GT race at an average speed of 89.879 miles per hour. His victory lap is quite spectacular as he blows a tire in the S's and gives the crowd a real thrill. 31 cars come to life and roar into turn 1. Hall takes the lead. Trouble in turn 2 as several cars go off the course. Hall shows the way through turn 6 in his Chaparral. Hall Hall leads McDonald, Holbert, and Penske. The Chaparral still leads, and McDonald presses in second. Hall, McDonald, and Holbert fly down the back stretch. Shelby says, "Get him, McDonald." And get him he does as Hall and his Chaparral slow to a stop in turn 2 with electrical problems. McDonald's King Cobra leads through 6. Penske has taken over second place. McDonald in a full 4-wheel drift. Edward Mackey crashes in turn 6. A.J. Foyt manhandles an ill-handling Scarab through turn 7. McDonald is setting a sizzling pace. Ron Dykes has his hands full with his Maserati. The King Cobra is performing perfectly. Penske pushes his Xerox Special to the limit. Penske hangs on to second. Miles Gupton gets out in the dirt with his Porsche. McDonald takes the checkered flag to win the 1963 Times Grand Prix after lapping the entire field. How sweet it is.
Coming up through the S's, the first 6 cars starting to pull away from the pack. Into the bag, Rex White in the number 4 car, spinning off of the track and clear. Your leaders heading up through turn 6, still together. Here are the standings. Freddie Lorenzen, the new leader in car number 28, followed by 121 Panch, 21 McDonald, 22 Roberts, and 16 Derringer. Lorenzen in 28 pouring it on out of turn number 9, down the short straightaway and heading for turn 1. Lorenzen through turn 6 as the rest of the cars close it up. Here's the lineup. McDonald, the new leader in car number 21. 28 Lorenzen, 16 Derringer, 121 Panch, and 22 Roberts. McDonald and Lorenzen through turn 6. And here comes Darrell Derringer, car number 16, and the 162 car. Car number 162 has lost it on the high bank in turn 9. driver, Scotty Kane, okay. Here's your first 5 positions. McDonald in car number 21 in the lead, followed by 16 Derringer, 121 Panch, 22 Roberts, and 26 Johnson. Don Noel sliding high up on the bank in a dust storm. He's okay. Roberts in car number 22 spins in turn 7. He's off the track and okay. McDonald through turn number 9 and pouring it on. Bob Bondurant, the 0 car, takes Paul Goldsmith hard into the wall. Derringer in car number 16 takes advantage of the yellow flag for fuel. Back in turn 6, both drivers are all right, climbing out of their cars. Up in turn 5, the 61 car slides into the bank in a cloud of dust. Darrell Derringer powering it through turn 6. And McDonald holding down the second place, running 7 seconds behind in car number 21. The 16 car, Derringer, smoothly through turn number 6 on the final lap. And McDonald in second place in the 21 car, still trying to catch the leader. There's the checkered flag. Darrell Derringer in car number 16, your winner of the Golden State 400 at Riverside, with McDonald in car number 21 finishing in second place. A great victory for the NASCAR competitor.
A crowd of over 83,000 is on hand for the 7th annual Times race. McLaren is leading with Foyt, Hanskin, Jones, and Clark following in that order. It's a hot, dry 92 degrees, and the drivers have 200 long miles to go. Parnelli slips past Foyt for second. McLaren still leads. 2 cars try a shortcut in turn 2. The McLaren Olds pits with a leaky water hose. Jones streaks by in the lead. Hanskin watches as Penske goes by in second. Foyt is still third. Parnelli has adjusted quickly to sports car racing and finds traffic a cinch. Frank Moniz spins in turn 5. Then bounces off the wall in 6. Parnelli has now lapped most of the field. Penske is running a steady race in second. Jim Clark is fourth. Parnelli has set a blistering pace and easily wins the 7th Times Grand Prix in record time. Roger Penske is second for the 2nd year in a row. In his first try at road racing, Parnelli picks up a cool $14,450, including a new Pontiac Grand Prix convertible. The Bill Stropp-prepared Mercury team will be tough to beat in the 2nd annual Motor Trend 500 at Riverside. Darrell Derringer, Joe Weatherly, and Bill Stropp talk over a little race strategy. Fireball Roberts is always tough to beat. Richard Petty will start from the front row. Paul Goldsmith, Parnelli Jones, and A.J. Foyt are among the Indy 500 veterans in the big race. Fred Lorenzen broke the track record at 102.434 miles per hour and will sit on the pole. Foyt is impressed. 1960 NASCAR champ Rex White. David Pearson. Dan Gurney is always looking for the ideal setup. Augie Pabst, Dave McDonald, and Bob Bondurant are road racing veterans. Manhandling a big stocker on the tricky 2.7-mile road course isn't easy, even for road racing pros. Ken Miles will quickly agree. Riverside is both fast and treacherous. It's a thrill a minute for the fans. And a skipped heartbeat or two for the drivers. Dave McDonald will start in the third row in a 64 Mercury. Derringer will be in the fourth row. Billy Wade will have to work from the middle of the pack. '63 Indy winner Parnelli Jones is starting beside A.J. Foyt in the sixth row. Two-time NASCAR champion Joe Weatherly's Merc will start from the eighth row. Indy winner Roger Ward qualified for the fourth row. Number 22, Fireball Roberts. Lorenzen and Petty bring the field down for the start. Petty has the lead, and Lorenzen is second, heading up to turn 6. Richard holds on to first through sweeping turn 9. On lap 15, Clem Proctor takes several end-over-end flips in turn 1. Petty still leads during the yellow flag laps. Proctor was only shaken, but his Ford was a total wreck. Dan Gurney in car 121 takes the lead during a Petty pit stop. Fireball is running 10th. Joe Weatherly is driving hard to make up valuable time lost in the pits. Little Joe has a good line through turn 4, but his car goes out of control in turn 6. A different angle shows smoke from Joe's car before it slammed into the steel plate wall. Tragically, Weatherly died instantly in the crash. On the restart, Petty once again takes the lead with Gurney's second and McDonald third. Transmission failure puts Petty out on lap 101. A.J. Foyt tries to get by Marvin Panch. Foyt crashes in turn 1 and is out on lap 151. Gurney looks unbeatable. Panch is holding steady in second. Gurney brings his Wood Brothers Ford under the checkered flag. Marvin Panch finishes second and Roberts gives Ford a clean sweep in third. Gurney wins 2 Riverside 500s in a row. Foyt gets settled in for the start. Johnson leads with Parnelli Jones in hot pursuit. Parnelli goes wide in turn 9 and takes the lead. Billy Cantrell thrills the crowd. The caution flag bunches the cars up for a restart. Jones leads Johnson, Jarrett, Lorenzen, and Panch. Dan Gurney in number 121 is challenging Jones for the lead. It's important to be ready for anything. Bob Connor spins in turn 6. A.J. gets the word from his crew that Parnelli is out. Gurney is the new leader. Ned Jarrett slams the wall in turn 6 and is forced to pit for repairs. Suddenly, Jarrett's car explodes and is engulfed in flames. Ned scrambles out of the car and escapes uninjured. Foyt battles Panch in turn 6. Gurney and Foyt hold down first and second through turn 9. The crowd loves it. Foyt tries a little too hard in turn 8. Gurney has built a big lead. Trouble on the 167th lap. Foyt has no brakes and ducks to the inside to avoid Junior Johnson. Foyt goes into the dirt at over 100 miles per hour and flips end over end for several hundred feet. AJ was lucky to live through this one. He was hospitalized in serious condition and was out of action for months. After the restart, Dan builds a tremendous lead. It looks like Gurney is going to make it 3 in a row. Dan takes the checker and wins the Motor Trend 500. The cars are on the grid, ready for the green flag. The race gets underway, but a stalled car in the middle of the field causes a few anxious moments. There's a pileup, and several cars are knocked out of the race. Charlie Cox, Don Wester, and John Cannon are unhurt, but finished for the day. Grant is pushing Hanskin for the lead. Bondurant takes over the lead in turn 7. Hanskin and Grant duel for second. Hanskin tries his best to get by Bondurant. Jerry Grant is now second. Hanskin is forced to the pits by overheating problems. Bondurant continues his lead as Hap Sharp moves into second. Jimmy Clark is running fourth in a new Lotus 40D. Hanskin watches from the pits. Hap Sharp is lapping slower traffic. Dan Gurney is out once again. Grant is through with a blown engine. Sharp is on Bondurant's tail. Graham Hill is third with McLaren close behind. The crowd gets a real thrill as third place Graham Hill loses a rear wheel in turn 9 and hits the wall. Hill waves a warning to oncoming traffic and surveys the damage. Bondurant and Sharp hold on to first and second. Bondurant suffers mechanical failure as his brakes lock up in turn 6. Jerry Enton dumps his Cheetah in turn 6. He's a little shaken, but okay. Sharp sails through turn 1, still in the lead. Clark continues in second. Sharp is on the white flag lap. McLaren will finish third. Sharp takes the checkered flag, covering the 200 miles in less than 2 hours, at an average speed near 103 miles per hour. Clark's ill-handling Lotus is second ahead of Bruce McLaren. The starter checks the field. They're off. Jim Hall is running second, Surtees third, and Stewart fourth. McLaren isn't able to pull away from Hall. McLaren is driving hard as he can, but can't shake Hall and Surtees. McLaren gets past going into turn 7 and loses the lead. Jim Hall is trying to pull away from Surtees. Graham Hill settles into third. Stewart remains fourth. Mechanical problems are beginning to take their toll. McLaren is pulling out, and Phil Hill would like to get back in. The crowd watches Surtees pass Hall for the lead. Surtees must have been pacing himself. Hall seems content to run second. Now, Hall appears ready to make a move on Surtees. Hall passes Surtees to regain the lead in turn 9. The crowd is loving the action. Now Surtees gets past Hall as they head out of turn 1. Surtees can't afford to make a mistake now. The race is getting close to the end, and once more Hall blows by Surtees in turn 9. Surtees slips by Hall in turn 8. It's going to be a dash to the finish. Out of turn 9 and headed for the checkered flag. John Surtees wins the 1966 Times Grand Prix. Jim Hall finishes second in his fuel-starved Chaparral. Surtees finished the race in 1 hour and 53 minutes, averaging over 106 miles per hour, and winning the lion's share of the $70,000 purse. Not bad for a Sunday afternoon's work. 44 cars charged down for the start. Pearson has the lead. Gurney, Punch, and Curtis Turner take the next 3 positions. The rest of the field jockey for position. Gurney is the new leader. Charlie Powell tests the wall in turn 6. Dick Gulfstrand thrills the crowd in turn 1. Gurney is really smooth. Curtis is on Dan's tail. Jerry Grant and Bob McCoy get together in turn 4. Bob almost has company. Bobby Allison spins in turn 7. Turner pressures Gurney in turn 9. Turner takes over first. Clyde Prickett spins, taking Bobby Allison with him. Richard Petty is off the pace in his Plymouth. 500 miles on Riverside's tough course requires total concentration. Time for service. The Wood brothers hustle over Gurney's car. Gurney is in the lead. Curtis gets a little wide in turn 2. Hurtubise passes Cale for 6th. Turner is back in first place. Gurney comes in for a quick service stop. Dan holds on to the lead. Curtis spins and Pearson goes by, taking over second place. Dave is on Dan's bumper. Bobby Allison spins. Gurney is pulling away in first place. Pearson holds on to second. Curtis continues to have trouble. Dan Gurney wins again. Dan makes it 4 in a row. Gurney set a new track record, averaging over 97 miles per hour. A tired but happy winner. Eddie Gray gives us his point of view racing up to turn 6. Number 57 loses it in turn 4. It's a wild tumble. Orrin Prosser is the new leader. Frank Denny tries a little dirt tracking while holding down second. Eddie Gray has a new line. More trouble in the S's. Prosser wins the first Permatex 100. Denny is second and Dave James third. Richard Petty is in his 1970 Plymouth Superbird and starts outside Allison. 34 cars race into turn 1. It's a tight spot in turn 2. Petty has the lead. Bobby has spun. Allison charges after the leaders. Richard has a lap on Bobby Allison. The crowd pulls for Bobby. Allison is trying his best to catch Petty. Bobby Isaac is up to 5th. Dick Bown is running 9th. Richard Petty has led all but 4 laps. Allison hurries. Bobby is really pushing his car. Richard has finally figured this tough Riverside racetrack out. Petty wins the Riverside 400. Richard wins his 106th race and almost $19,000. Bobby Allison finishes 2nd. The crowd loved it.
Stock car racing has emerged from the old South and the days of moonshine running to become a multi-million-dollar business. Its slam, bang, go for it style makes stock car racing a tremendous crowd pleaser. Monster-sized tires and a sandy strip characterize the new sport of sand dragging.
Serious accident occurred on the 36th lap of the 3 1/4-mile circuit when Doc Bundy's Corvette, Lynn St. James in a Ford Mustang Probe, and the Jaguar of Chip Robinson came together in a fiery crash. Despite totally destroying the 3 race cars, miraculously none of the drivers suffered more than bruises.
we fear, I think, the unknown and the unexpected, and I always feared that maybe I was going to, you know, that terrible accident. When is it going to happen, and is it going to happen? And then it happened. And I was fortunate enough to walk away. I think the car was so structurally sound that I was able to walk away from that crash. I mean, I had some residual health problems with my back, but I was able to recover from all of that, and I got back in the car a week later just to get that fear out of me. And the team really understood that that was important, and I was healthy and fit enough to at least get in the car, not for the race, but just to kind of get back in the saddle.
At the finish, Dyson and Cobb won by a lap over the defending race champion BF Goodrich Porsche. The Dyson Cobb victory marks the 5th different winner in as many events on the Camel GT circuit this year.